Welcome back to another video. Today we have a special guest, Miss Kelly, my Grace Kelly. If you guys remember her, we did a Q&A like over a year ago about being in nursing school, and we answered like all of y'all's questions about what it's like to be a nursing student. And now we are back a year later answering your questions about what it's like to actually be a nurse. So as most of you know, I work in the ER. Kelly, where do you work?
I work on a neurotrauma unit. I eventually want to work in the ER just like her. I'm jealous. But I'm going to transfer down to the ER in my hospital that I'm at now because it's the level 1 trauma center. So that is, once I get more experience, that's what I'm going to do. Really excited.
Yeah, so we have gotten a few months of nursing experience under our belt, so we're going to share what our experience was like in answering some of you guys' questions. Again, we're going to have another one of our wine talks. So we're going to be sipping and answering. First question, is nursing as stressful as nurses make it seem? Girl, yes. So, do you think so?
Well, some people are really dramatic about it to try to almost scare you out of being a nurse, but yeah, it is.
It is pretty stressful. I think beginning as a nurse is stressful. Like, I don't think it's as stressful your whole career, but starting out, like, there's so much to learn at once.
Yeah.
And this is like your first time, well, maybe not your first time, but for most people, this is your first time having like actual lives in your hands and being responsible for these people. So it's stressful in that fact, but I think it gets better as time goes on. I don't think it's as stressful as it is the entire time, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Ask me that in 3 years.
I think the most stressful part though is like the part you don't learn about in school. Paperwork, phone calls,
calling the doctors.
Yeah, the stuff. Assessment, meds, that's the easy part. The hard part is the behind the scenes, in my opinion. Yeah. Because that's something
especially, in the ER, there's so much paperwork, especially when you're like transferring patients.
Consents.
There's just consents. Yeah, there's so much paperwork that goes into it, and that's my least favorite part. I hate all the paperwork part. What surprised you most about your new job? What were you least expecting? Honestly, everything was shocking to me. Being a nurse is shocking. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? People die in real life? Like, oh my god, I thought this was just in lecture.
It's like when you realize you're alone and you're the primary person there for your patient. That's pretty shocking, because when you're in school and your clinicals, you can kind of duck out of things because, oh, I'm just a student. But when you're the nurse, there's no more hiding behind the curtain and saying like, oh, I can't do that, I'm a student, I'm not allowed to. It's like, no, you have to do it.
That's you.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, and also knowing that like if something is going on with your patient, like it's your job to catch it, because the doctor isn't in there all day. Like, it's you. So if something is going on, like, you need to alert somebody. So just knowing that like I have to like catch something if something starts going wrong, it's like nerve-wracking, because I'm like, what if I miss something? What if I miss like a little change in the assessment or whatnot? So that is like the part that like is scary for me. Is nursing what you thought it would be?
Yes and no.
What did you think it would be like?
Well, I think kind of like back to what I just said, the paperwork and all that you don't really think about. That's kind of what I didn't think it was going to be. And it sounds so small until you really are in charge of it. The paperwork and the talking to, and not so much with her in the ER, but like I have to talk to physical therapy, occupational therapy, respiratory, physicians, the residents.
Collaborating care with everybody.
Yes, it's very stressful. Nutrition, the dietitian, the tech, the attending, everything. The resident, the surgeons.
Housekeeping.
It's like insane.
Yeah. It's so much. Yeah. And it's not even like they can teach you that in school. Like there's no class that's like how to talk to everybody. Like you really just have to learn it with experience. There's a lot of things that they can't teach you that you just have to learn. And I mentioned this in like a live that I did on Powerhouse Nurses Instagram a while ago. I literally did it 2 days ago.
I was just about to say that.
I mentioned how like there's not as much caring as I thought there'd be. Like, you know how when we were in nursing school and they asked everybody like, oh, what made you want to be a nurse? And everybody was like, I just care so much about people.
Yeah.
I just want to help make a difference.
Yeah.
And it's like when you get to the floor, that's not the same vibe you get.
Everyone's like in a rush and in and out, and it's
Yeah.
just like, answer my question and let's move on.
Yeah, you're really so like almost like task oriented. Like,
Yeah.
I have to get all this stuff done, I have to get these meds at this time, blah blah blah. And it's like you're moving so fast, it's like you almost don't get time to be like have that one-on-one like caringness, you know?
Yeah, it's stressful because you don't want to be heartless, but you have to do your job. And
Exactly.
that's what's keeping the person alive, is their meds and everything like that, not the small talk.
Exactly. You're right.
Unfortunately.
This is a good one. We were just talking about this, actually. We just got lunch at Chipotle and we were talking about this. Do you ever forget what to do in a certain situation? And if yes, how do you deal with that?
Yes.
So, yes. Honestly, yes. And we were just talking about, like, if somebody went down in front of us when we were out in public, what would we do? Because it's nursing in the hospital is one thing, but when you're out of the hospital setting, you don't have your whole team, you don't have medications, you don't have heart monitors, you don't have any of that. So it's almost like learning a whole nother field, because I know what I would do if a patient coded in the hospital. I would get meds, push through an IV, compress, whatever. When you're not in the hospital, and say a person isn't dead yet, they still have a pulse and everything, how do I keep them stable? How do I do that outside of the hospital? I really don't know exactly how to do that.
Let me whip out my blood pressure cuff.
Yeah, like let me get my Ambu bag and help you. I mean, we're not dumb. Like, we know the basics, but just thinking about like what we would do in that situation. I'm sure if it happened to us, like we would do something.
Hopefully they'd be okay. I don't know. I mean, it's hard because you don't have like IV supplies and a bag of fluids, and you know that's normally the number one thing people do when they get to the ER.
Yeah.
But you don't have that, so
you really just yeah. And even in the ER, like when stuff happens, it's like, oh gosh, like what do I do next? And thank God in the ER the doctors are right there, but like on a floor like yours, like you don't always have a doctor there.
usually don't.
So what do you do when stuff happens? That's why you have like rapid response.
Call rapid response.
Yeah. So rapid response is like someone, like a team that you call when your patient is going downhill, because you don't have a doctor on the floor all the time. Yeah. So when your patient is like crashing, rapid response is kind of like your backup, so you don't feel alone and you have someone helping you out.
And they are great. I've had to call them a couple times, and they're critical care nurses with lots of experience. Mm-hmm. So they don't freak out. They're calm when they arrive. They know exactly what to do. It's great. You feel so much better. And actually, when they come, they take over for your patient. Not with like little things, but they take over the care. So you don't have to feel terrified.
Yeah. I wish I had rapid response in the ER, but I'm literally the rapid response.
You are the rapid response.
Sometimes I literally want to call 911 when I'm in the ER. And I'm like, I really am 911. Like, who am I gonna?
The end result.
I am 911. Is it true what they say that nursing school doesn't teach you or prepare you nearly enough for a real job out in the nursing world? So we kind of touched on this a little bit already, but there's really no way for nursing school to 100% prepare you for being a nurse. Like, you really have to be thrown out there to understand it. They can teach you about diagnoses, diseases, medications, all they want, but until you were actually a nurse, like, you don't really grasp the full content of it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that are different from textbook and what they teach you that's not true in the real world and the way you actually do it. They just have to give you a baseline so you have some knowledge, but it's not accurate, and every hospital is different with their policies. And
yeah, the policies is a big thing. Like, every hospital has different policies, so you would do like a certain order set for a certain diagnosis at one hospital, but a hospital across the street may do something totally different.
Yeah.
So it's not even knowing what to do, it's like knowing what the hospital wants. There's just a lot that goes into it that like nursing school possibly couldn't teach you everything. And that's with every profession. Like, no school really teaches you exactly how to be that thing, except maybe like acting school. They teach you how to act, and that's exactly what you do when you get out.
One advice I would say for that, though, because there's not much you can do about it, take your practicum or whatever you have is it called practicum?
Yeah, practicum capstone usually.
Yeah, take that seriously, because that is your first chance to learn the real world, but not be completely on your own because you're with your preceptor. So definitely take that seriously.
Yes.
Really, because that's your last chance to mess up and have it be kind of okay, but learn your independence in a safe environment.
You, at that point, you don't even have your license, so somebody is in charge of you. You don't have your license, so this is your time to learn and not know things and really grasp the full content before you're responsible for people. Yeah. Now, I don't mean go out there and start killing people and pushing the wrong meds because you don't have your license. No. I just mean that, like, ask questions. Doesn't matter if you look stupid. I feel like when I first started, people probably thought, like, this girl is dumb as heck, because I would ask simple questions that are, like, so obvious, but I'm like, I rather double check myself than make a mistake. And
I still do that.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather, just like what you said, ask a stupid question than assume wrong and then hurt somebody or myself.
No questions are stupid questions. And if somebody makes you feel like your question is stupid, report them to the FBI, because they are mean people and nobody should be making you feel stupid when you're trying to save lives.
Fire them.
Fire them.
Fire them.
Make a citizen's arrest. Just call the police.
911.
Being totally honest, no, let's be fake. How hard was the nursing program?
Compared to...
I feel like real life nursing is harder than nursing school.
See, I disagree.
Really?
I think the opposite. I think nursing school was the hard part. Well, okay, hold on. That sounded wrong. They're very difficult in different ways.
Yeah. I think it really depends on the person, because me in nursing school, I wasn't really that stressed because I knew it was just like an exam, a test, whatever, and I could always, you know, you could always retake a class, whatever. But when you make a mistake in real life, it's like you cannot take that back. So it's just like having that responsibility is just like stressful. It's not even, it's just the stress of being a nurse, I guess.
I mean, when you say it like that, yeah. But at the same time, nursing school was just constant. You're studying, you're busy, you have to be somewhere, you have to do all these things. Nurse, you just show up for 12 hours, not 12, like 14. And then you leave. And not saying that you don't bring mental stuff home with you. That definitely happens. But there's no, like, I feel like this is coming out all wrong.
No.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess I get what you're saying.
It's just...
No. We sound so confusing.
You're like making me change my answer. I don't know.
No, but nursing school, I guess, because I kind of enjoyed nursing school. It was very hard, don't get me wrong. I just liked being around people all the time.
Oh, well.
Like, I liked it because
we... the social aspect?
Yeah.
Alright, well, true.
I don't know. I liked, like, going through things, like, as a family.
No, that's true. The camaraderie.
Yeah, I love that part of it. Yeah. Like, being part of, like, a little family. But, like, the actual content and labs and clinicals, like, that part, the exams, like, the constant studying, that was, like, so draining.
Yeah, and you had no time for anything.
Yeah,
not even,
not having time for stuff was, like, the hardest
I barely wanted to shower in nursing school. Like, you did not have time.
I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to... Oh, my gosh.
Nothing. Like, I did shower, but, like, I didn't want to. It was too much.
It was, yeah.
Too much.
It was a lot. But I don't know. Nursing school is definitely hard. Do you think it was as hard as how everybody said it was going to be before you started?
I feel like a lot of people are dramatic and they try to scare the younger people into like, you can't do this, you can't handle it. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that's how it was, because
it over-prepares you.
Exactly. So when you actually had to do it, it didn't seem as bad as you thought. But it was definitely like one of the hardest things I've ever done. No doubt about that. It was...
It's easier if you're a disciplined person. If you're somebody that has no discipline, it is going to be a hard, rough battle for you.
That was me.
That was me at first until I got my life.
Yeah, it took me like a couple months until I was like, okay, this is serious.
Yeah, like,
this
you have to be serious, because you will get left behind real quick if you're not.
Oh yeah, nope. Yeah.
They don't wait for nobody.
They don't wait.
If you were late for one thing, like, you have to write an essay and...
And it's like 10 pages,
yes,
wasn't it? Like,
they would not
insane.
playing. Nursing school does not play. That's one thing.
30 seconds passed.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you can't come in lab. You got to make it up and write an essay.
Door is locked. Like,
yes.
no.
They do not play. But yeah, it definitely depends. How hard it is depends on you as a person. If you're disciplined and, you know, on top of your game, you'll have an easier time than some.
Yeah.
Was it hard finding a job after graduation? What tips would you give to make the process easier? I always say apply like a month before you graduate. That is my advice. So that when you graduate, you're not like scrambling to find a job. Even before you take the NCLEX, like I had a job solidified before I even graduated. And that's what a lot of people did. Like you don't have to pass your NCLEX to get a job as a nurse.
Yes, because they'll hire you and say like if you pass, the job is yours.
A contingent offer.
That's
the word. That's the word I was trying to think of that I was. Yes.
I thought I almost said it and I was like, that's not the right word.
Let me look it up. Let me make sure that is the right word.
But definitely do that. That's a smart idea.
Siri, define contingent.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh. You
Girl, I
didn't
didn't say it yet. Define contingent.
Rude.
Siri, define contingent.
As an adjective, it means subject to chance.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear the next one?
No.
Yeah, anyways, contingent upon you passing NCLEX. They will hire you. So, and when you don't think people are applying for jobs around you, you're wrong. Because they are and just not talking about it and then taking all the jobs.
So they can steal your job. So apply early.
How many interviews did you go on?
1.
Same.
Yeah, and that was it.
And that's the one I wanted, so it worked
Yeah,
out.
same. Look at God. Queen of nursing. Florence Nightingale canceled. That's what I was gonna put on my graduation cap. I told you that. I was like, people are gonna drag me if I put that. They're gonna be like, this stuck up girl.
Jealous.
How long were you on orientation being a nurse for the first time? So I was on orientation for like 14 weeks. It's supposed to be 12, but I got 2 weeks of like an ENCC course, so that like prolonged it a little bit. How long do you have on orientation?
We work in the same hospital system, so it's the same thing. It's 12 weeks, and then the first week was like
hospital orientation.
Yeah, like you're not on the unit.
Yeah.
You're doing classes and lectures and PowerPoints and stuff about the company and the hospital and nursing, hand washing, and infection control.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on the actual unit. So it's 11 weeks on the unit and 1 week in that crap.
Charlie's hair is in my wine.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. Okay, this is gonna be the last question. Do you remember everything you learned?
No.
Girl, no. And that's with anything. Like, you don't remember. What is it? Didn't we do a lab where they showed you how much you actually remember?
Yeah.
You remember like 20% of the things that you actually learn.
Yeah.
Which is scary. But you learn a higher percent of what you write down. Do you remember what the percent of?
No, it's like really high though, like 60, and then the kinesthetic learning, when you do it and you practice it, that's even higher than writing.
But that's why I always say, like, rewrite your notes, because it really sticks, especially that helps with studying and for exams. When you write things out, it helps stick the information into your brain.
Huge difference. I did that too during school, and that made
a huge difference.
Huge. I would not have been, I mean, not that I was like the most successful ever, but like I would not have been so successful without that technique. It takes a long time, but it's so worth it.
It is. But yeah, I don't remember a lot of the things I learned in nursing school, but that's why I always, like, when I come across something at work that I don't know or don't remember, I always look it up, and if not then and there, I write it down and I look it up later, because you are constantly building your knowledge, and it's okay to not know everything. You're not a superwoman. You're not gonna remember every test question, every lecture, every PowerPoint. That's just how it is. That's why there's people there to support you. There's doctors that you can ask questions to. There's so much support.
Yeah, and I guarantee you the nurse that's working next to you that's been a nurse for 30 years doesn't know anything, or doesn't know everything. Hopefully she knows something.
She doesn't know anything.
But me, on the other hand,
I don't know anything.
she doesn't know everything. He
or
they don't
she.
know everything. So
Don't feel
ask
bad.
questions. And I've asked questions to my preceptor and he doesn't know the answer. And he's like, let's look it up together.
Yeah,
Let's figure it
you
out.
learn it, you look it up. That's a good thing. It's okay to not know everything,
Yes.
but it's not okay if you don't know something and you don't make an effort to learn it.
True.
If you come across something, make sure you know next time it comes around.
Exactly. That's important. Always learning.
Always learning. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. That's the end of our Q&A. Let me know down below if you guys like videos like this, if you want to see more with Miss Grace Kelly. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, thank God, 1% left.